happened after that, and then she ended up in Florida, and the IT guy caught her eye. And
The
so,
IT guy caught
her
her
eye. So Randy Rosado was just in the right place at the right time. But tell me how that began to blossom. You had come out of something in August, and I doubt that you were looking for anything after coming out of 9/11. So, I mean, how did that all happen?
He and well, he's from New York originally,
Right.
too. He's from Rockland County. And as soon as I saw him and we shook hands, there was something about him. Well, first of all, I thought he was from Miami. For some reason, he just looked so Latin. I thought, oh, okay, so you're from Miami. He said, no, I'm from New York. And, being from the city, I just remember saying, where is Rockland County? And he said, what do you mean? And I said, well, where is it? Do you have, like, Hot 103? Back in the day, he goes, why wouldn't we? He said, where do you think we live? I said, oh. So he and I had we had a lot of, we're both the same age, and we had just this closeness right from the beginning. And we were together from October 11th, from, then on. So it was basically 10 days of just knowing each other, and we just really clicked. I was offered the job to stay in Florida permanently. It was to work for that company. And I decided to move to Florida on November 6th, 2001.
Wow.
Which my friends in New York could not believe it. My mother could not believe it. But I decided that he was the very first person that I truly loved.
Mm.
And there was a definite reason why he came into my life. And it was definitely for a romantic standpoint, but also he listened. He listened to me cry and talk about my friends like they were still here. I confided in him and I poured my heart out to him, and he became my rock. That in itself made me understand I had to come down to Florida to meet him and to start a life with him.
Wow. And so how long did you guys stay in Florida? Because I met you, I don't know, it was 04 or 05, but it was around there.
We were in Florida up until 2008 because we were going back and forth from New York. We have a house in New York as well.
Okay.
So we were just traveling back and forth, but we were in Florida for quite some time, but then we realized how much we missed our family and friends in New York, so we came back. But being in Florida and being in New York now there's the difference in the weather is like,
Yes.
oh, I can't believe I don't remember how cold it actually got up here, but
Right.
yeah.
You didn't want to remember.
I know.
I'm from Maine, so.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You know what, then I'm not saying anything.
No. Well, that's, okay, so when you actually moved back to New York was when I moved to Florida. That's interesting. So, okay,
Yeah.
so then coming back from Florida, now I love how you guys went from operating a pizzeria to selling real estate and mortgages, which is how we met. How did that all, because, with Shane and I, when we talk about business, we always keep our eyes open, and we're very open. So, operating a brick and mortar to, this and that. So tell me how this kind of gelled from him being an IT guy and you being in corporate America.
Randy grew up loving pizza. And he started making pizza at a very young age. So he started operating a pizzeria just when he was still a teenager in New York. He received his licenses to do real estate and mortgages around when we met.
Mm-hmm.
That was a new entrepreneur thing that he really wanted to do, and I pretty much joined with him in building a business. For me, working in corporate America, I was on the financial services side as well, but more on the stocks, bonds, hedge funds, and stuff like that. But helped when it came to sales. Because if you know how to sell, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, you're going to make money.
That's right.
Shane says it all the time. Shane says it all the time. Well, that is awesome. Now, and I love how, you know, Shane, and when Shane read your bio, it was funny how when you, you know, you learned life lessons, how to check their own egos, and how to treat people with understanding. And, you know, we had to, because we have very different backgrounds, yet similar. I mean, with sales, like you said, if you know how to sell, then you can sell anything. And Shane has sold everything that I can even think of.
Sold a few things.
But how do you, now, do you still work together day in and day out today?
He does a lot of consulting, he does a lot of writing.
Mm-hmm.
I, on the other hand, do a lot of consulting.
Mm-hmm.
What I noticed, and obviously you guys have noticed this too, with the age of social media, there are a lot of people who rely on their face or their body to be able to sell a product or sell a product that they're wearing or they're, I don't know, whatever it is. And what I teach my clients is to live authentically. And if you're going to sell something that you have, if you do it with integrity and you do it with authenticity, they will be drawn to you. It's not only going to be your face on a screen. You may get a lot of likes, but you may not get the amount of success if you were just putting yourself out there like, look at me. That's really what I tell people when they're trying to get themselves out there. And that's how I brand them, help them brand themselves.
Wow. Well, and we also had a question, and Shane might want to ask you about this.
Yeah, I was looking at that, you know, you're the voice for evolutionary leadership. What exactly does that mean?
Okay, so if someone were to come to me and say, I'm leading a sales team, but I'm noticing that they're starting to plateau a bit. Their numbers aren't increasing. They're starting to get less interested in the product that they're selling. Where do you find, and you find within yourself what could be changed, not what's wrong, but what could be changed in your technique, they will then soon follow because they will see success in the leader.
Okay, well, yeah, that kind of goes along the lines of some of the things I've done. I've done a lot of commission-only sales. And so you can't blame anybody but yourself to become motivated every single day to go out there and hit that pavement or on the phone or whatever it is that you're doing. You have to find what's wrong with you or what's holding you back or, you know, you have to find out the mechanics of what's putting yourself out there to continue every single day to go out and produce. Now,
Right.
you know, the thing is, you know, you could be a number one salesman person, but there's always somebody better than you. So if you have an ego, like I was watching, you know, checking the ego is really, it's important, but it's not a, what am I trying to say? It's fragile. It's a real fragile thing. Now, once you're at the top, that's great. Everything's great when you're at the top, but when you start to fall down, you have to figure out how am I going to put this all back together again so I can get back there. And that's what separates a good leader from someone that's, you know, an ego-driven leader. Exactly.
And I commend you for even for being in a commission-only sales position, because I have never done that. Only if the business that we were in, you know, back in 2004, that was commission only, and we had to. That's how we were able to check our egos, because what we meant by checking the ego is knowing when you're thinking and feeling and doing from ego.
Wow.
Not just saying, oh, that's my ego talking. No, really see it for what it is. Am I fearful? Well, who's fearful? The ego is fearful, not you yourself, because you're the one who's motivating people. You're the one that's doing it. without the ego saying, well, you can even do better than that. You're not doing exactly what you're really supposed to be doing.
There's always more, yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, let's dive into pursuing your destiny. And, you know, many people, because there are, you know, if you just look at on Facebook, whatever, there's life coaches here, there talking about destiny or purpose or things like that. But let's just give people from your book maybe the top 3 points of what you guys, how you encourage people to pursue their destiny and to overcome obstacles so that they can reach their dreams.
Okay, first, whatever you come across in life, the most tragic thing that could ever happen to you is never better or less painful than anybody else's challenges in life. When I shared the story of September 11th, I shared it not to show my pain, but to let people know that they have their own pain and they've experienced their own 9/11. That we are all in this together.
Right.
That's the first thing. Second thing is that success is not always measured monetarily.
No.
That if you are in a relationship and there's not open communication and there's not understanding of one another, there is not success found in that. And you might as well be alone because there's no better person to make happy but yourself. That way people will be able to find happiness around you.
Wow.
That's profound.
And third, that when you think that any job, that anything that you'd have to do for money in terms of like, you know, when we got out of the mortgage business, that hit us hard. So in 2008, when FHA loans just hit rock bottom, Randy said to me, well, you know how to sell. Why don't you go to Worth Avenue and see if they're looking for a retail person? Immediately I said, I can't do retail. I don't know how to sell clothes. I don't even know anything about fashion. That was the ego talking. And I think that's through fear was what kept me from doing it. But then he pushed me.
Wow.
So I think that anytime you think that something's beneath you or something that you just don't think you can do, that's when you know that the ego is present. And that's when you need to make and you really need to go for and make that change.
Wow, I mean, and
Good stuff.
listen, you know, all of us, when the market fell, had to learn or had to kind of rebrand ourselves, go back to, and I've always said that there's no job that is beneath me. You know, when we relocated to Florida, I mean, I can't even tell you how many resumes that I not only mailed out, I faxed, I emailed, I mean, I did every way, and people would not look at me because I was a CEO. I was overqualified. And I was like, I don't care, I'll be, you know, I'll do, and it took just one company, a local family-owned company, less than 2 miles from my house, and I was everything there. I was in charge of marketing, in charge of administration. I was in charge of it all. I booked appointments. I did everything, and I was so grateful for just an opportunity to feel productive again. You know, to feel, and so I didn't care what they needed me to do. I mean, there was one project I had to. He painted these 3x5, like the wood, right? Cut them up.
2x4.
The 2x4s.
Close
Sorry.
enough, 3x5,
2x4. You know what I'm saying? And so he painted them orange, and then I had to write on the front and back, like the address to the realtor, and on the back, and it was like 100 of them.
Yeah.
I had to write by hand, but I didn't care. I was part of something, of putting out a new message, and it was just kind of pulling back on my early corporate days of being everything from the admin to the COO, you know,
That's right.
I did it all, but I was grateful, and so I really can understand what you're saying about ego. Because I'm sure there are many people that said, well, I'm not gonna take listen, I went back to making per hour what I made coming out of college.
Right,
But I was so grateful for that
Yeah.
check every
you had a
week,
check,
you know,
it was
just because,
providing your needs.
so that I could, right, so to help to
Even
support
if
our
it's very
family.
minimal, you know, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, so, well, we wanna take one more quick break, and then we wanna talk about what you've been doing now and what you are doing. So we have been listening to the great Michaela Michelle Cruz Rosado, speaker, author, and, consultant, and I love this peace advocate, I love that. So you're listening to One Way Praise Radio, the AliShane Show. We'll be right back, don't go away.
You good?
Okay.
Look at the cat.
What you mean? I should say, you're listening and watching. You're watching.
You good?
Okay.
Look at the cat.
What you mean? I should say, you're listening and watching. You're watching.